back to SourceFed Nerd. You're watching Anime Club. You know what we do here. We watch the first few episodes of an anime and we give you our first impressions and such. I'm Reina Scully.
And I'm William Haynes.
And this week we watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
It's pretty bizarre, if I do say so myself.
Pretty bizarre.
Like, if I had to make a list of things that I thought were bizarre, I'd say this is one of them.
Oh, yeah, like top three?
Top three.
I specifically wanted to do this because I'm really interested in the genre, which is clearly geared towards dudes, I'd say.
It's pretty duty.
It's a duty.
It's a lot of weird dude energy going on.
Lots of weird dude energy.
It's a lot of like, ooh, I hate you.
Or I love you.
Or I might love you at the same time. It's a lot of Ken Ryu in there.
Oh yeah,
man juice. Yeah.
Man juice.
There's a lot of man juice in there. There's literal man juice as well. Not man juice, but juices that women have the juices as well, but most of the juices in the show are coming from men. All the juices in the show are coming from men. There's a point where a woman puts her hand in a puddle, whatever.
It's definitely like action, mild, I guess, not horror though. It's not really horror. It's just graphic.
Kind of scary. If I watched in the dark, I'd be a little scared. That's just me. That's just me. It's graphic. It's definitely graphic.
Yes.
As we were watching the show, the internet kind of jacked up and it got stuck on a guy who's like a spear came through his head.
It's the first scene. It's the first scene of the first episode.
I wouldn't even say it's a spear. It's like just like a sharp thing that went through someone's face and makes you sad.
It's the jagged edges of the part of a mountain, and a guy landed perfectly on it where the jagged edge goes through his mouth.
Like, I never felt sadness until I saw that.
That was actually a very interesting start to the series because it definitely set the tone, but it felt very much like jumping into the middle of a story that's already happening. This main crook-looking-ish guy.
He's the crookiest guy you've ever seen.
Crookiest.
He's got like 5 teeth.
Yeah.
He's got like growths on his head.
Yeah.
One of his eyes is bigger than the other. He does a laugh. He starts off his sentence with a laugh, and it's just he's
sinister.
He's crooked and sinister.
Yeah, he's basically looting these dead people. He's like taking off like the wedding ring and whatnot, and the girl that's with him or the woman that's with him is all like, "No, what are you doing? Blah blah blah. Oh, there's actually a baby that's still alive. This woman must have protected the baby and sacrificed herself to save the baby. Whoa."
Not sure how that's possible. We'll accept it.
We'll accept it. It's anime.
It's anime.
Yeah. And this baby is actually Jonathan Joestar, and Jonathan Joestar then grows up to, I guess, be like normal or whatever in his mansion.
He's a normal weak kid.
Yeah, but now the Joestar family owes the crooked sinister dude a favor.
So they wrote, I guess, the rich Joestar man wrote a letter to the crook that says, "I owe you one." And the old man used it until his deathbed.
Yeah.
He said to his son, "Take this, and you'll be the richest man in all the land," or whatever.
Yeah, but it was actually even more messed up than that because he is a crook and he's sinister too. Obviously, he raised his child, Dio, by the way, to be very evil as well. And he didn't just say like, "Oh, go, get money from them," or like they owe us a favor. He goes, "Be the richest man ever. Go take their money and go be the richest man ever."
Yep, go ahead and steal.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Just do it.
Which I'm gonna call a little bit of BS on that. This man is shown to be the crookiest man of all crooks, and he waited this long to get the money. He waited until he died. I don't believe he would have done that, but we'll accept it. Cause it's anime.
JoJo is actually supposed to be the name of each of the main character in each of the arcs. Every season follows a different family member from the Joestar family.
Spoilers. Not really.
Not really. I mean, it is spoilers, but like, I mean, you kind of have to like know that.
Yeah,
for it
it's
to
good
make
knowledge.
Sense. Yeah. So every like season or every 12 episodes or so is separated into an arc.
Spoilers.
No, it's not a spoiler. It's just information. It's information.
Sorry, I didn't mean it.
Jonathan Joestar is your average main protagonist. He's pretty wimpy at first, but then he becomes pretty OP.
Like, the weirdest thing about this show is that the characters all get, once again, the Ken Ryu makeup, where they're all of a sudden the rippest dudes in the land, actually. They are. They go from this.
They go from
this to this. in a matter of like one episode.
It was one episode. It was an episode 2. They were like older, they were beefier, they were playing rugby.
And they won rugby too.
Yeah,
so like,
they're beasts. So Jonathan is obviously very ethical. He wants to be a true gentleman, which is very interesting. That is the term they use. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Not Hokage, not King of the Pirates. He wants to be a gentleman.
And then comes Dio.
Dio.
Who is clearly evil. Everything about him is evil.
Like
his eyes.
That's what I was gonna say. How like they're like, oh, Dio. The dad's like, oh, Dio's such a good kid. This kid's eyes are in an automatic angry pose. He's like, I'm sinister always.
I'm angry too.
I don't eat breakfast without thinking about murder. Like, that's the kind of guy Dio is.
Just to give you an idea of what a dick this Dio is, okay, let's be honest, he's pretty much a serial killer.
Yes, he is.
He's legitimately probably a serial killer.
He did a bad thing.
He did a really bad thing. Jonathan has a dog named Danny, and I guess spoilers, whatever, it's in the first episode. Dio burns him alive.
Burns the dog alive. Throws the dog in an oven or something. I don't know what it is.
Oh god, and it's so bizarre and wrong because the dog is like in a box inside of like the furnace and nobody knows, and they're like, I guess it's garbage, and they light it on fire, and then the door of the furnace starts to move because he's in there, and it's just so awful. I hated everything.
R.I.P. fictional dog. He also kneed the dog in the face while it was still alive, but that's a different story.
Yeah, the first time he met Jonathan, he was like, I'm Dio, and Jonathan was like, this is my dog Danny, and then he was like, bam! Dio is obviously clearly after Jonathan so that he can assume Jonathan's
life,
inheritance,
fortune,
yeah, pretty much,
money,
and take over his life, really.
His
everything. And in order to gain all the inheritance from the Joestar family, he also starts poisoning Jonathan's father, and then Jonathan figures it out, and then he's on a quest to go make sure that the poison is actually a poison and whatnot.
Yep. And then he goes to a place called
Ogre Street.
Ogre Street
in London.
If Ogre Street was real, you should know never to go down Ogre Street.
No.
A couple streets you don't go down. Ogre Street, Nasty Avenue, Dirty Boulevard. Never go down these streets.
No, those are awful streets. Gangsters are gonna get you. Which is exactly what happened to Jonathan, actually.
Exactly.
Now on to the weird phantom blood mask. Okay, so what happens is it's made out of stone, supposedly, obviously not. It's full of magic.
Stone and magic.
You spray some blood on it, and it sprouts.
Splatter, yeah, and
what
sprouts
does it sprout?
the spider leg
legs.
knives.
Spider leg knives. That's actually very accurate.
Yeah, spider leg knives,
Yeah.
I'd say.
And then...
which you think would murder a guy.
But it doesn't. It does something entirely fucking weird.
It makes you a vampire zombie that's very powerful, but your skin can rip easily. Gotta watch the show to find out. Hopefully you have already.
So the zombie guy then gets attacked by a knife. The knife slices him. So his flesh is obviously like weak and soft, but then he punches a wall.
Through a wall,
and it explodes. But he's intact.
In the middle of the night, nobody notices. Where's the constable?
That too.
My favorite moment of this entire show is when we're explaining how evil Dio is. I guess he's like beating up JoJo, and he takes him by his ear and like literally grabs his ear and says things into his ear. Which was very no for me. Just you don't have to, never in life do you ever have to grab someone's ear to speak to them.
It's also really weird. You kept saying, oh, it's gross. There's something gross, but I didn't understand what you meant by gross. Just, is it ugly?
It was too much weird dude energy. It was too much man juice on it.
It was a lot of man juice.
Too much man juice.
I got you. At first, it seemed so all over the place. Like I said, it felt like we were jumping into a story that already existed. But you do understand everything rather quickly.
Yes.
I really like that each season is a different arc and it follows a different generation of the Joestar family, so I think that's really clever. I realized that I must really be enjoying it when I deeply wanted to know what was going to happen next.
Me too, I do. I'm also experiencing what I experienced when we watched Nagi no Asukara, because I was like, this is not for me, but I want to know what happens, and that's how I feel about this.
That's all we have for you this week on Anime Club. Next week, guess what? We're gonna be watching Sailor Moon Crystal! Nostalgia galore. In the name of the moon, I shall punish you.
I am the masked tuxedo.
Ooh.
Or tuxedo mask.
If you want to watch Sailor Moon Crystal with us, head on over to crunchyroll.com/sfnerd to get your free premium membership trial. Remember to take a video of yourself giving us your review of it and upload it onto YouTube with the hashtag SFNSailor. And remember, come back next week like our friends.
In this particular anime, it's very clear who the good person is and who the evil person is. There doesn't seem to be any, like, three-dimensional depth into the characters, to be very honest. It just seems very flat and two-dimensional. For this particular anime, I would say that if you do like super buff guys, like just beating people up and then the supernatural, it's actually a very interesting anime.
A bunch of random magic, curses, and fighting happens, and that's only the 3rd episode. Afterwards, it's a lot of zombies, vampires, magic, blood, and characters dying away. Throughout the anime, I felt like they kept on throwing out plot twists that a child would make. I froze your arm. I'm using fire behind you to melt my arms. I shoot lasers out of my eyes. I can breathe without lungs. In addition to vampires and a zombie army, JoJo learns Hamon, a technique that uses your blood and breathing to manifest energy of the sun from your body.
Describe JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Damn, this is pretty crazy. Like, I only watched 1 episode and wow, it was like really intense. A lot of things were pretty over dramatic, but it's pretty cool over dramatic. Be like, oh snap.
It was just so unrealistic in so many ways with the plot and the animation, and it was just, I didn't enjoy it.
Well, are you listening to me? We're gonna go get lunch, and we're gonna get what I want today. Do you understand? Or else I'm gonna burn your dog alive. Alive!
This is no different than any other day. Let's go.